Sky with your angel voice, just meet me up in heaven, angel boy. You know I loved you voice, angel, angel voice, 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 angel boy. You know I loved you from the voice, angel, angel voice, 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 angel, angel voice. Sky with your angel boy. You know I loved you from the.
Hi my Leos, what's up and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how I personally make my thumbnails. I have actually already done 2 videos on this. The first one I did when I first started this YouTube channel, so please don't ever watch it. It is not a good video. And the second one, it's an old video as well, but it might work out for you. I don't really know, but this is an updated tutorial on how I personally make my thumbnails in 𝓐𝔁𝓽𝓾𝓧𝓶. So for the softwares you're going to need for this video, you're going to need Blender 2.79 and 𝓐𝔁𝓽𝓾𝓧𝓶. 𝓐𝔁𝓽𝓾𝓧𝓶, you don't need to download, and I'll link it in my description. It is a paid software, but you can also use it for free. However, you will only get 3 saves per day when you're making, videos. Or not videos, like thumbnails and PNGs and stuff like that. You will also need to know how to make a GFX and basically the basics a little bit on how to, photo editing and things like that. I will also link in the description a few videos that are going to be helpful for this video, so you can also link in the description to find those videos. And with all that said, let's get started. Okay, so before I even start making the thumbnail, I like to go ahead and make a PNG that is or a GFX PNG that is related to the video and the thumbnail, so that it kind of just looks a lot nicer and it gives this like pop to your thumbnails. So this is the part where Blender 2.79 comes in and knowledge of how to make a GFX comes in. As I said in the intro, I'll link in the description of my video on how to make a GFX. So if you want to go ahead and watch that first before you watch this video, it's in the description and you can go ahead and take a quick look at it. So use all your knowledge from that video to go ahead and make a PNG that you enjoy, that you think is going to be good for your thumbnail. After you've made your PNG for your thumbnail, you can either go to my description and download, or to get 𝓐𝔁𝓽𝓾𝓧𝓶, it's not like a downloadable thing, or you could go ahead and search 𝓐𝔁𝓽𝓾 in your bar or your search bar right here, and you can go ahead and find the link. I already have it saved right here, so I'm just going to click here. Once you open it up, it may seem a little bit complicated, but I'll explain everything. So the first thing you're going to do is actually you're not going to just jump straight into making the thumbnail. What I prefer to do is make a background, because it creates consistency in your thumbnails. Like, it's very nice to look at your theme and go, this is my theme, and you can see it in all of my thumbnails, the consistency in the background and just the colors. It looks really nice, and I definitely recommend doing it. But if you would like to skip this part and just jump straight into making the thumbnails, you can totally do that. So if you want to make the background, here's how you do it. You click create new and then go to social. You can scroll down and you can see YouTube profile, YouTube thumbnail, and YouTube art. YouTube art is for banners, YouTube profile is for profile pictures, and YouTube thumbnail is obviously for YouTube thumbnails. You can name it whatever you want, but honestly, you're just going to save it after you go ahead and make it, so there's really no point in naming it. So click create, and now you have a nice blank transparent background that you can use to start making your background. So as you can see, it is a little bit complicated, but you're only going to use a few of these tools, and some of these tools you may never even use anytime you use 𝓐𝔁𝓽𝓾𝓧𝓶. So for a quick demonstration on how to use it, at the very top you have file. You probably aren't going to use anything here besides save. Edit, you can do undo, cut, copy, paste, transform, preferences, any of that stuff. Undo, I recommend just learning Control-Z. Control-Z is like basically the sign for any program to undo. like some programs are going to be like a bit weird and they don't have that, but most programs that you're going to use for like editing or photo editing, they're going to be Control-Z. Even Blender, it's Control-Z. So cut is Control-X. I usually just use the cut tool that they already have. I don't use cut that much, but Control-X if you want to cut. And then copy is Control-Z, and then paste. I'm sorry, copy is Control-C, and then paste is Control-V. I would learn undo, Control-Z, copy and paste is Control-C and Control-V, but I'm pretty sure everybody that has a computer knows copy is Control-C and paste is Control-V, but I just recommend learning the signs. It's a lot easier. Page, we're not going to be using this at all in the tutorial. Most of this stuff you're not going to be using like view or help. You're not going to use those. Select, you're not going to really use that. Layer, you're not going to use that. Well, actually no, you are going to use layer. You're going to use rasterize layer. And then adjustment and filter, you're also going to use that. And then to the very right, you can use this to like zoom in, but honestly you can just use your mouse to zoom in, stuff like that. You can, you really have no use for this, but it's just there. You have these, I really don't know what these are for. You also have layers, which are very, very, very important in drawing as well. So just remember, layers are very important. Down here you can import text, shapes, frames, image, and empty layers. And you can duplicate by doing Control-D and then delete over here. But delete, you can just use backspace. Don't worry about that. And then history, it's just going to tell you all the stuff that you've done. You're not really going to use this either because basically it's really funny because if you were to undo something you did like way in the past and you see it in your history, if you click that and click backspace, you're deleting all the stuff that you just scrolled up from. Like the newer stuff that you've done, that's going to be undone as well. So just don't use it. Just use Control-Z. Like if you see something you don't like, immediately use Control-Z. Okay? And then to the left over here, we have all these extra tools. I'm not going to explain every single one of them. Basically, all you're going to use is this cut tool or cutout/mask. You're going to use this text tool right here. And that is basically it. That is basically all you're going to use. So, yeah, you might not even use cut. Basically, text is very, very important. And this like mouse thing is like just to move around your stuff. It's really not that important. Like it's important to move around your stuff, but this part is getting too long. These are the colors that you are automatically going to be switched to when you're doing gradients on stuff like that. But anyways, let's get into making the background. Actually, right now you're going to use the shape tool. I forgot to mention that, but go ahead and make it bigger than your canvas. You're basically just going to click and drag like that. Click and drag. So you're gonna click to the left right here and for the shape tool, and then click and drag over here, and it's gonna create a new layer called shape 2. You can rename the layer if that helps you, but I think it's already apparent enough that this is shape 2. I mean, it literally says that. So I don't know, you can do whatever you want. But basically up at the top here we now have all of this extra stuff. Right now we're just going to be using this fill tool. You can either use a gradient for the coloring or just a normal color. I usually just use a flat color like this, and I make it pink because that is personally my theme. If your theme is like a dark goth kind of look, then you can go ahead and make it a dark goth kind of look. But this is personally my theme. So now you're going to go back to this click thing, and you can drag it around if you want to. Like, you can go ahead and make this crazy look, I don't know. But anyways, now it's time for the fun part. This is a very fun part because now you get to add like decorations to make it look even nicer, and I really enjoy this part. But anyways, in the description I'll go ahead and link like my overlays and stuff like that, overlays, extra little things that I like to add to my backgrounds. But anyways, I'm gonna go to the right here and I'm gonna go ahead and click on this and I'm gonna click image. Or you can go ahead and go to your file explorer at the bottom and then like click and drag. I think you can click and drag. I'm not entirely sure. Don't listen to me. Anyways, now I'm gonna go ahead and find my overlays and I'm gonna go ahead and import them in, and I'll see you back, or I'll see you after I do that. Okay, so I've imported all of my overlays that I'm gonna use in this, and now it's time to move them around and just make them look nice. Okay, as you can see, we have our composition already. Wait, let me just quickly fix this newspaper. Here we go. Okay, also to move the layers, you just click and drag them above or below. Either way. But anyways, now we have our composition already, and we're actually not done. We're not done because I gotta change the waves, okay? I gotta change them. Okay, so I have everything put together very nicely, and now it's time to go to the top left over here, click File, Save, or you can click Ctrl+S, and I like to put the quality all the way up. This is going to be a JPEG image, and now I'm going to go ahead and click Save As. You can name it however you want, like maybe YouTube thumbnail background. I am really not one to talk with naming because I will name my files the weirdest things. But just name it so that you can remember, oh yeah, this is my background. But your composition should look like this on your computer with your files, so you should probably just be able to see it when you're scrolling down and looking through the endless amounts of files you have from the multiple thumbnails and videos you've done. So anyways, go ahead and click save, and now you have your file saved, and now it's actually time to go ahead and start making the thumbnail. Alright, so I went ahead and I, just clicked toggle home on that, and now I'm back here. So now you can actually click open image because we have our background now. Yay! So go ahead and find your background. I'm just gonna search, I think it was YouTube. Yeah, YouTube thumbnail background. There we go. I remembered. And then click open. Go ahead and unlock your background so that just in case you need to change it, you have it already unlocked and ready to go. Okay, so now this is the really fun part, and now we actually get to make our thumbnail. So go ahead and go to the very right, just like we did with importing the overlays. Go ahead and click this add layer and click image. So now you're gonna find your PNG. This is the first thing I like to do. So now I'm gonna scroll down through the endless amounts of things I have, and I'm going to find my PNG that I have recently made. So this is the PNG that I made. So now I'm going to go ahead and put it to the right or to the left. Either way is fine. And I'm going to maybe like scoot it like that, resize it, do all of that. So resize it just like that. And now it may actually not fit in with your background. It's gonna look dull, it's gonna look ugly a little bit along with these colors. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and filter and adjust it. So first I go to filter and I go to bloom. I don't change bloom too much since it's gonna kind of look a little bit weird if you change it too much. But about 10 is fine. And then go to adjustment and go ahead and go to brightness and contrast. Go ahead and up the brightness so that it kind of just matches with the background. If it already does match with your background, then you don't need to do any of this and you can just skip this part. So brightness and contrast, and just go ahead and change the brightness so that it kind of just fits with the background a little bit more. 25 is a good number here. And you can also up the contrast. I guess I'll do about 5, and there you go. Now you can go ahead and click apply. If you really want to, you can go to temperature and tint and make it just like a little bit more, I don't know, just fit it to however you want, and click apply. So now it should look a little better, or a lot better with your background, and now it should fit a little better. So now you can go to the top and go to filter, and you can click outline. So now this is going to give you an outline of your, of your PNG. So you can click this, you go ahead and click the color and then change it to white, click OK. Size, I usually change it to about 7. I think that's a really good size for this, and then click apply. Then go to filter up here and click drop shadow. This is going to give a shadow to your PNG, and I think it just looks nice. You don't have to do this, but it's very optional for this part, but I like to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly do it. I'm going to change the color a little bit just to make it a bit lighter, and blur it, and click apply. Okay, so now that we have a shadow and an outline for our PNG, it is now time for text. Yay! Okay, go to the left and click this T. This is very important. I use text a lot. I think most people would use text a lot. I don't know. It's a thumbnail, so you're gonna want to have big, bold, pretty, cool, intriguing, I don't know, eye-catching words. So click this and then go on to your page right here and click on here and then click add. Okay, now we have our text. Yay! Okay, so now it is time to go ahead and change the font and change the everything, and it's just gonna look nice. It's gonna look good, and it's gonna be eye-catching, and text is very important, so we gotta make it look nice. So go ahead and change the font to whatever you want. You might not have the same fonts I have because I already have pre-downloaded fonts that I use for my thumbnails. I'll link my video in the description on, first of all, how to download fonts from DaFont, and good fonts from DaFont that I personally use and that I really like to use. So you can go ahead and go download those and then come back to this video. But if you already have downloaded fonts that you want to use for your thumbnail, then you can go ahead and use those, okay? Okay. Alright, so now you're gonna go ahead and find the first font that you're gonna use, because you're gonna probably, most likely, use multiple texts and multiple fonts just to make it a bit more, I don't know, eye-catching, like nice, different, cool. I don't know any good words to describe this. So the first font that I usually use is Blomster because I really like it. It reminds me of flowers, and I think that's the point, but we're not going to talk about that. So the first word I'm going to use for my thumbnail is how to, because it's a how-to tutorial. You see, you get it? You're getting the gist of it? Okay. So yeah, to change it, by the way, you go to edit at the very left top right there. So now you're gonna make it larger by going at the bottom here. You see this like enlarged square thing? Just like click it and drag it and it'll make it bigger. Make it nice and big so that people, when they're scrolling down trying to find a video to watch, this is like the first thing they're gonna see. Eye-catching, bold, cool. So just make it big, make it bold, make it cool. So how to right at the top right there. So now you're gonna go ahead and click fill. For fonts, I actually do gradients because I just think it looks nicer. So I'm gonna go ahead and quickly do a gradient here. Also, to do a gradient, I forgot to mention that. So just go to gradient right here, obviously. This like weird thing, just click it and then click color and go ahead and change the color to whatever you want. I'll make it a nice light pink, and then go to the next one right here. Change the color to the next color that you want it to gradient or fade into. I don't know what it's called, and make it like darker or lighter, however you want to go about it. And then it's going to automatically save, so you can just go ahead and click off. So now you may be thinking, I can't see that for the life of me. How do we fix this? Well, if you want to keep it this way, keep it a flat, not 3D text, you can do that. Go to styles, outline, and as you can see, you can add an outline, you can make it white, you can add a shadow. The shadow's probably already going to be what you want, but you can also make it darker just in case so that it pops out even more, and then you can click off. But what I usually like to do for the first letter and maybe the last one, for the first like piece of text and maybe the last one, I go to layer, rasterize layer, and basically rasterizing, I don't know how to explain it, but like I'm actually not even sure what it is, but it's basically just making the text layer the same as all the other layers, because text layers limit you from doing like things like outlining, but the text layer already has outlining in, I don't know, into its settings. I don't know what to call it, but it prevents you from doing other things you can do if you had like a normal layer of an image. So rasterizing means you turn it into a layer that is like every other layer. But the only downside to this, if you want to change like the text or if you want to change the color, you can't do that anymore, because now it's a normal layer and you have to do it the same way you do it like any other layer. So that's the only downside. So make sure you have your colors set in place. You like your colors, you like your outline, you like your shadow before you rasterize your layer. But anyways, now you can go ahead and go to filter and then bevel. Bevel is basically just making your text or whatever you're basically beveling 3D, and I think it's really cool, so I use it a lot. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and make it a darker color. As you can see, I'm gonna make it a bit more like the opacity a bit, I don't know how to explain it, darker. I'm gonna make it darker. There we go. Now I'm gonna change the highlight opacity, and now as you can see, we have our text 3D, so that rhymed. Now you can click apply. Yay! As you can see, that got rid of our outline, so we're gonna have to do that again. Hi, editing on in here. I actually made 2 mistakes in this, so now I'm gonna have to redo the entire thing. I had to redo this entire thing, and you wanna know why? Because I added the outline and shadow before the bevel, so if I put the outline over the shadow, it's just gonna outline over the shadow, and it's just gonna be a mess. I also put how to instead of how I, so I had to redo this entire thing. So I'm going to skip over that for you guys, because I know you guys don't want to watch me do that, and I'm going to see you back when I have everything ready. Go ahead and add everything. Okay, as I was saying, make it nice and short. People don't like to read. So now it's time for the next font. I'm just gonna use like maybe a smaller font. I guess I'll use this. I'll use this font and then I'll go ahead and type it out. How I make my, so I recommend, so for like short and sweet, I recommend just like 3 pieces of text, because it's usually that long for titles and it just works. So it's only going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4 words, no, 5 words, because it's going to be how I make my thumbnails. Basically the same as the title, but if you have to shorten the title for the thumbnail, go ahead and do that. I don't need to, because my title is already quite short for this video, as you can see, how I make my thumbnails, PC. So, anyways, I'll meet you back when I've done all of the text. Okay, so I have added all of the text, and this is what it looks like so far, and I'm really liking how the text is looking. So now it's time to add like a couple extra little details to my thumbnail. So what I usually like to do is I like to add like a speech bubble, a text speech bubble, I don't know, a speech bubble over the PNG's head, and she's saying something that's like a little extra. You don't have to read it, but it's recommended that you read it. I don't know how to explain it. So I'm just gonna go quickly make a new tab, and I'm gonna search pixel speech bubble. So I'm going to go ahead and click this cutout/mask tool, and you can go to the top and you can see shape mask, magic mask, draw mask, lasso mask, and gradient mask. You're probably never going to use gradient masks, just so you know. You might use lasso mask, but I don't know. It's just a little bit hard, I'd say, as you can probably see. So you can use draw mask, and this is just gonna cut out like that, but it's probably not gonna look very good. It's just, and shape mask, it's just hard. It's just hard. So you're gonna use magic mask. If you click off, so now I'm gonna go ahead and size it down, and I'm going to add it just above her head. It's also going to be just like that, and boom, now we have that. Now Pixlr does not come with anything like a speech bubble that you can use, so you gotta do this instead. It's very hard, but it's okay. So now I'm gonna add text right there, and I actually already have a font for that. It's called 𝓐𝔁𝓽𝓾𝓧𝓶. You can just search up Pixel on the font and you'll find it, and then download it. It's fine. So now I'm gonna put PC because it's important information that you don't really have to read, but it's recommended that you read. So, yay. Now I'm going to go ahead and fit it to the speech bubble, make it big so that you can still see it, and boom. Now we have that. So now you are actually done with your thumbnail. If you want to add like extra overlays or something like that, you can do that. But I like to keep my thumbnails nice and simple. But anyways, now you're going to go ahead and go to the top left like you did with the background, and you're going to go ahead and save it and name it whatever you want. I like to name it after the the title of the video because it's just easier to remember, okay? So now I'm going to name it, let's name it How I Make My Thumbnails Thumbnail. Very good title. So I'm going to click save, and as you can see, it is saved now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it helpful. I tried to make it as informational but also funny as possible. I don't know if I was funny at all, but I tried. Anyways, with all that said, bye my leaves.